Shalom Israel, this is Yahweh back at you again with another impromptu video. Today's topic is going to be the breakdown of Revelations chapter 13. Before I do start, I want to give all praises and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, double honors to the apostle elders of GMS. Salutations to you brothers out there that teach the truth. Shout out to you Aquas that listen. Shout out to the, brothers that don't teach but listen to the scriptures and believe in them wholeheartedly. Shout out to you brothers, man. This is the breakdown of Revelations chapter 13. And we're going to start at Revelation chapter 13 verse 1, and it reads, "And I stood up upon the sands of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name blasphemy," which blasphemy would be anything going against the holy scriptures, homosexuality, adultery, lying, stealing, killing, etc., etc. Everything that America pushes in its democracy, and democracy is blasphemy. Once more, democracy is blasphemy. So the 7 heads will be: first, the Egyptian Empire or Egypt, Assyrian Empire, 3, Babylonian Empire, 4, the Medo-Persian Empire, 5, Greece or Grecia or the Greeks, 6, Roman Empire, and 7 would be the revived Roman Empire, which will be America, the beast that was healed. The deadly wound that the beast suffered, and once it healed and came back, that's America, aka daughter Babylon. So let's go back to Revelations 13. And now when it's saying the sands of the sea, it's not actually sand in a body of water. Okay? If you go to Revelations chapter 13, which one is it? Revelation 17 and 15, which I'm going to pull up now. Okay, and Revelations chapter 17 and 15 read, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." You see? So that's what the sand of the sea represents in Revelations chapter 13. So let's go back to it. Okay. And let's go back to verse 2. It said, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." Now we're going to break that down. Now the beast he saw until like a leopard was Alexander the Great, and I'll go into how you can find that out. Moving on, his feet were as the feet of a bear, the Russians, because ultimately that's going to be the thing that knocks this place off the map, meaning it's going to use those thermonuclear ICBM nuclear missiles to destroy this place. Russia's going to be that bear, and their symbol is the bear. How ironic, And it says his mouth as the mouth of a lion, which his mouth of a lion, that's going back to the Great Britain Empire. They carried the lion crescent, which is giving you a hint that, hey, this is who it is, man. And if you go into various histories about how the British Empire ruled, they also ruled with, iron fist, man. Major kingdom on this planet, man. And out of that kingdom out of the British Empire actually came the colonies of America, man. But you Edomites who came over to America as pilgrims, as you would say, seeking, shelter and a new start from the king over there that was taxing you guys. Yeah, that came from the British Empire, man. So they were the start of the so-called 13 colonies, man. And see, and gave him power and his seat and great authority. Now the dragon that gave him his power, the dragon was that Roman Empire, not physically, but the philosophies that the Roman Empire carried. You see America carry on those traditions to this day. You have the legislative branch, which came from the Roman Empire. We can actually go to some of those things. I went to this article called enlightengo.org. It's a website. It says here the ideological similarities between Rome and the U.S. from the perspective of law and citizenship. Here it is. Executive branch. In times of peace, the executive branch of the ancient Rome comprised of two councils. Same thing you have here. You have Democrats and Republicans. You know, you had the legislative. The most influential members of the legislature in Rome were those in the Senate, which you see that now. You know, a large body of elected landowners decided how state money was spent and what projects were valuable for state funding. You know, something America follows to this day. The judicial system, the judicial branch of ancient Rome was very similar to the modern U.S. courts. You see, this is really the Roman Empire revived, man. George Washington, it says others were calling him American Cincinnatus, while he preferred to call himself Cato, which is, if you know who Cato is, that is a actual Roman politician from back then in the Roman Empire. John Adams was called Cicero. James Madison was known as Publius. Alexander Hamilton was most surprisingly identified with Caesar. You can read this, man. These are facts. These are facts. These Edomites look up to their forefathers, man, the Romans, man. That's why they named their science after Greek and Roman names. I mean, like you got your Achilles heel that comes from Achilles. You know, the Greek warrior who was a Jake, you know. Pluto, Mars, all these names, man. You can keep going on and on. I don't want to jump into it, but as you can see, they keep the same customs as their forefathers from the Roman Empire and from the Greek Empire. Alexander the Great, Cicero, you know, Caesar. They look up to those guys because they're the same people, you know. And we're going to go back to 4. Chapter 4. And it says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, which was the Roman Empire giving power to the EU and NATO, which that is the beast, is EU and NATO, and the dragon is aka America, aka Rome revived in its philosophies. And they worship the beast, saying, who is unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? But you see that now, America thinks it's an unstoppable country, unstoppable nation, you know. And we're going to keep going. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, well, Yahweh, and blasphemed his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and overcome them, and power was given him all kindreds and tongues and nations. See, and when it says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints will be the Israelites, so-called Black, Latinos, and Native Americans, who derive from Negro descent. You know, it says that the Most High Yahweh Bashim gave these Edomites the power to rule over you, man. Okay? And it says, him of all kindred in tongues and nations, meaning he rules more than just you Israelites. He rules, you know, you see it, everybody in the EU, the NATO alliance, he ruled over them, man. And he tried going over there to you know, not Elam, but Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. He tried to go over there and spread that democracy there, but you know, Ishmael ain't playing no games with him, man. He's fighting tooth and nail to keep that democracy out of there, man, which is that Babylonian cup, which I'll get to, you know. And we're going to continue. Okay, well, before I continue, I want to go back to, see, we're going to go back to Revelations 13, verse 2, and I'm going to go speak about the leopard. All right, give you a few minutes to get back there. This is Revelations 13, verse 2. We're just going to go back up a few verses. I want to cover the leopard and show you that that's Alexander the Great, or the Greek, Alexander the Greek. This is Daniel chapter 8, verse 1. Okay, and this is Daniel chapter 8, verse 1. It says, in the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, which was a Mede. He was a king that was descendant of the Medes, or Japhet. A vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. You know, and it says, and I saw a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan, in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, which that whole land where they ruled, where the Babylonian and the Median Persian Empire was in the land of Elam. That's what that land was called once upon a time, before it got changed to Pakistan, you know, Palestine and all that stuff. It used to be called the land of Elam. You know, just a little quick history lesson. You could actually type that into Google, type in the land of Elam. It'll show the whole Middle Eastern region area. You know. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came last, which is talking about the Median Persian Empire once more, but before they came into one. It's about the Median Persian Empire altogether. The horn that was larger was the Persian Empire, because the Persians are the ones under King Cyrus. He's the one that took down the Medes, man, which Daniel gives you. It's a chapter in Daniel that shows how the king of the Babylonians, he was so goddamn proud, he actually drunk from the chancels that he shouldn't have drunk from, that belonged to the children of Israel. They were like holy chancels that no heathen shouldn't have been touching or drinking from. He used them as cups that he can drink from, just paraphrasing. And Yahweh, he cursed them, man. He actually sent a curse. You know, it appeared on the wall. Nobody could translate it. Daniel had to translate it for the king. And he told him, hey, man, this very night, man, you're going to get put to death, man. And there's going to be a new ruler. Paraphrasing. And that new ruler was Cyrus, man. He conquered the Medes, and he created the Median Persian Empire, man. He united them. You know how when Rome conquers a different state, they make it a client state. That's what he did to the Medes. He made them a client state, and it became the Median Persian Empire, man. 2 different nations are in that title, Medes and Persians. Just let you know. And it continues, and as I was considering, behold, and he goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, which that's talking about Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Greek, you know. And let's see. And it continues, and he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him with fury of his power. Which basically means Alexander the Great attacked, basically took on the Median Persian Empire, which is just facts. This is facts. People thought he was crazy to go up against that nation, man. The Persians was a vast nation back then, man. Very feared. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, which means bitterness or anger, meaning he dealt harshly with them Persians, man. And it continues, and he smote the ram and brake his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but cast him down to the ground and stomped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, which means Alexander the Great was basically put to death by the Lord, syphilis, because he was a known homosexual, and homosexual acts were very popular in Greek customs, man. So yeah, he died of syphilis. And it continues, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven, which those 4 generals, if you go into history, after Alexander the Great was killed, well, not killed, but more like, just say put to death, from syphilis. He died from syphilis. You have the four generals, which is Antigonus, Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Ptolemy. Those are the four generals that rose up after Alexander died. And the kingdom was split, well, the empire was split up between those four. You know? And we're going to we're going to stay on Daniel's chapter 8, but we're going to move to verse 20. And it says, the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of the Media and Persian, and the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia, which I just told you. You know, those two horns that came up were the Median Empire and the Persian Empire. Okay? And let's continue. And let me see. We're going to continue to 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. You know, in Grecia, some idiot Christians say that's a different place. You look up Grecia, which I'll look up now. Look, even when you type it in Grecia, it says Greece. It pops up as Greece, man. What is Grecia called today? The Hellenic Republic. You know, if you know anything about Hellenists, you know, if you go to Maccabees and stuff, you read about Hellenists, Jews. But Hellenist is like Helen is the Greek god for, you know, I think like courage or something like that. Something like that. She's a Greek god though. Helen is a Greek god, man. You know. So yeah, that's where Grecia comes from, man. And we're gonna go back to Daniel's chapter 8 and 22. Let's go back. Now that being brokers, where four stood 20. Well, 21. And the rough goat of the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, which is talking about Alexander the Great. You know, and Grecia is, like I said, the same thing as Greece, and that's where Alexander derived from. He is not from the line of Japhet. It's so many of you dumb Christians saying he's from the line of Japhet. He's an Edomite, man. He's an Edomite. Now, you did have some Japhetic. You gotta think, man, when you replenish your ranks after you get some of your soldiers get put to death, you replenish your ranks. You will take on the men of the different nations that you conquered, man. So you had some Japhets in there, Japhites that were conquered by Alexander the Great, and you also had some Israelites in there. That's where you get Hellenistic Jews, and you know, so forth and so forth. You know, so yeah, it was some Negroes there. You have Leonidas, who was a Negro. Achilles, which was a Negro. It was warriors, man. But Alexander the Great was an Edomite, man. He wasn't no Japhite, man. And he damn sure wasn't no Israelite, man. So we're going to continue to Daniel's chapter 8 and 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. Because Alexander the Great was already gone. These are the four generals that took over, you know, the kingdom or the empire after he died. Okay, and like I said, it was the four generals. Boom, we're gonna continue to 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, which that's going to Antigonus. How you pronounce his name? Antiochus Epiphanes.
So Antiochus Epiphanes.
Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay, so yeah, that was the name of the general that rose up into power. You know, and I'm gonna go back to that scripture. And it says, and dude, like, fuck, man. It should be glitching too much. Excuse my language. It's a goddamn computer. Um, in the latter time of their kingdom, when transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. Antigonus and see, I can't pronounce his name, man. And Finch, Antigonus. Oh my gosh, man, this computer. Antigonus, all right, the fourth, all right, he's the one that stood up and basically became the ruler of the various three generals, and he came from the Salacious dynasty. Yeah, and basically, yeah, he's the one that risen up, man. That's what the scripture is speaking on. And we're gonna go back to Revelations 13. Antigonus and Epiphanes. Antigonus and Epiphanes. It's a tongue twister, man. So we're gonna go back to Revelations 13 and 1. So we're gonna recap, alright? And he stood up upon the sands of the sea, the beast that risen out of the sea, that is speaking on basically the sands of the sea, like I said, multitudes, people, languages, and kings. The slanders that came out of the so-called nations, that was the blasphemy. The stuff they would say about the Most High, that was blasphemy. Anything going against the Most High scriptures, that's blasphemy. People over there eating squirrels and shit, man, that's blasphemy. All right, you going to a Baptist church, that's blasphemy, man. Okay, and we're gonna continue. I'm gonna take it up. We're gonna go to Revelations 13 and 5. No, we're gonna skip up. All right. We're gonna go back to Daniel, as a matter of fact, chapter 7 and 22. Okay. Actually, yeah, I can leave Daniels alone. I'll come back to Daniels and relate them to the scriptures. I'm gonna just go back to where I left off in the Revelations 13 and 11. All right. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, which is talking about the so-called American is American, man. It spake as a dragon, meaning it speaks just like the Roman Empire. It taxed the hell out of you. Persecution, rape, robs, and murder. The same thing the Roman Empire was doing, this place is doing. And that is talking about the two horns represent the Republicans and Democrats, And when it says it came as a lamb, which and another beast coming on earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. And what the lamb meaning, it came peaceful. But then when it spake as a dragon, basically it's showing its true colors, how the Roman Empire was, man. You don't get down, you lay down, basically. And we're going to go to verse 12. And he exercises all power of the first beast before him, which was the Roman Empire, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, which was the Roman Empire, democracy, whose deadly wound was healed, which was the Roman Empire coming back as America. You see? And we're going to continue. Revelations 13 and 13. Alright, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in sight of men. Now, you can go and a few years back in Google, do your history, the first atomic bomb that was used was on Hiroshima in Japan. Excuse me. That was used in Japan. That was the first time people have seen, fire come from heaven, that per se, that was a great explosion, man. It was basically fire dropping from heaven, a bomb hitting it down, Hiroshima, man. And look at all that great destruction that fire caused, man, from that nuclear bomb America dropped on Hiroshima. That was a great wonder. Nobody's ever seen that before, man. And also, man, with the Vietnamese, man, the napalm bombs, that was the first time that was being used, man. You ever see like fucking what's that movie with your boy damn, Charlie Sheen, man. He played in one of them Vietnamese movies. You can see, man, what the napalms do, man. And this is verse 14. And deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live, which was you Edomites. Meaning if you don't get with our system, man, we drop a bomb on you, basically, the image of the whole Roman system, which is basically the customs and traditions, and we're gonna go to the next one. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not to worship the image of the beast should be killed. But you see what's happening over there now with them Iranians, Afghanistanians, Libyans, Africans over there, as well as them Middle Easterns, Muslims. They beating the shit out of you damn Edomites, man. You so-called red people, man. You Edomites. Trying to keep that democracy from entering their land, man. And you, like you said, man, if you don't worship the image of the beast, you should be killed, man. They fighting tooth and nail, man, to keep that shit from out of their country, man. Because America wants one world order, one world domination, man. And the only way to get that is they have to spread that wicked ass democracy throughout the four corners of the earth, man. And we're going to go to 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, which Israel represents the poor. Going towards Lazarus, the parable for Lazarus, just paraphrasing, the dog licked the sores of the poor. Which was you other nations, basically getting over on us, man. Rich and poor, free and bond to receive. Why it says free and bond? There's still bondage here, man. So-called Black, Latinos, Native Americans, man, you still in bondage, man. You other nations too, you Edomites, your own people. Esau put his own people in captivity, man. You taxpayers, you're a slave, man. You got a social security card, man. You're a goddamn slave, man. Both great and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, which that charagma is coming very soon, man. Very soon. Like that's still a part of prophecy that has to take place, but pretty soon, man, that microchip is going to be getting issued out, man, and that's when part of Jacob's trouble is going to start. Not the full on Jacob's trouble, because that's when Yahweh returns, but part of it, like, it's going to be you take the chip or you get your ass killed. So great tribulation is coming, man, still. And we're going to go to verse 8:17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, which that is a stigma, which is a mark print branded on slaves and bodies. That's what a stigma is, man. Okay? And we're gonna go to Daniel's. We're gonna go to Daniel 7 and 22. Okay, and they read, until, this is Daniel's chapter 7 verse 22, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So anybody that knows throughout scripture, whenever Israel getting jacked by the Most High, he'll send a prophet to judge them, and then after that, we get back on track. So this is just showing you when the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah come back, the son of Yahweh will come back, it says let me read again, until the ancient days came and judgment was given to the saints. After judgment was given, Yahweh Shah is the one that's going to give that judgment, man. And after judgment was given, the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. This is the kingdom of heaven, man. This hasn't taken place yet, man. It hasn't been a time on the planet where Yahweh Shah, Barakatha Yahweh Shah, man. Yahweh Shah came back and gave the kingdom to Israel. Matter of fact, I think they even asked him, man, when Yahweh Shah first came on the scene, did you come to bring us the kingdom? And he said, nah, surely if this was my kingdom, man, my service would fight, man. Just saying, man, paraphrasing, it wasn't that time to give the kingdom back to Israel, man, but now we coming up on the time where Yahweh Shah is getting ready to make his return, man, to give us that kingdom, man, and we're gonna go to verse 23. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. That's not talking about the Roman Empire, because for one, they didn't conquer the entire known nations that was on the earth, man. They stayed in that Eastern Europe, you had the Eastern Empire and the Western Empire. That never crossed over into the so-called Middle East, So yeah, they didn't, break the entire, world. Actually the scriptures tell you, they were wounded. So at a certain point they went down. So I'm gonna read again. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So that's not talking about the Roman Empire. That's talking about today's America, man. Rome didn't take over the earth, man. NATO and the EU and America did, man. They're the ones that's going around. America's conquered more countries than the so-called Roman Empire, man. Wherever you see American democracy, that means America has conquered, man. And we're going to continue to verse 24. And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and others shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And the 3 kings are the Spanish, French, and English. What you know about the colonies, they beat the English, and with the French, they were able to basically buy them out because the French was losing against the Spanish, and they needed money, so America was able to acquire, majority of its states through the Louisiana Purchase, which, if you don't know what that is, Louisiana Purchase is just what was called basically, it was the purchase of many states. I think Louisiana was a part of it, but it was a massive amount of states, man, that was included in the Louisiana Purchase, and that's how America became pretty much a vast nation through that purchase, And we can go to verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Would you see that now, man? Esau think he can go back in history and rewrite things, man. Like slaves were indigenous workers. The Mexicans actually gave up California to him because it was too much work. Stupid stuff like that, man. And in the 10, and I'm gonna continue to read once more. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times in the dividing of times. Which is basically like when they speak against great words against the Most High, they say things such as the Most High don't care if you're a bisexual man or homosexual man. The Lord don't care if you rape, rob, and kill. The Lord don't care about all the things he said he do care about. You can eat pork, fish, catfish, shrimp, all that, that's speaking against great words against the Most High. And he wore out the saints because, man, Jake ain't used to being wicked, man. Naturally, we're upright people, man. And when you start pushing this wickedness on us, gay rights, now Jake walking around with AIDS. Eat pork, high sodium food, now Jake high blood pressure. I got high blood pressure, diabetes, all type of shit, man. And that's what that scripture means. So we're gonna go now. The times and the dividing the times. Just to let you know, that's going back to Revelations 13 and 5. The 42 months, which 42 months, which was 3.5 years, which was 350 years. The dividing the times. That's what he's talking about, making reference of. Remember, America was established in 1620. And they started to go down in 1970. That's your 350 years. America's been going down since 1970, man. It might not have been as fast as, you Jakes wanted to go, but, the Lord's moving, man. So, that being said, let's go. Yeah, with that being said, man, that's pretty much Revelations 13, man. And, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be breaking down Revelations 14, man. And Shalom.